Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going to be right back with today's guest, but as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. So please take the next 3 minutes. Don't hit that fast forward button. Listen to our shout outs, then listen to our interview, and then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Snap Raise for their support. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school because it works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. It's snapraise.com. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Their team is going to have you creating world-class content in seconds. Whether it's a social media post to celebrate a big victory or an entire newsletter, the Gipper team is going to have you up and running in no time. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com to get started. We'd also like to thank Home Campus. Home Campus is a platform you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, or results. For me, the student athlete eligibility and clearance platform alone is worth the price. Go to homecampus.com for more information. That's it, homecampus.com. We'd also like to thank Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's from Ohio, but my assistant athletic director did, and it was a great experience, along with thousands of others. Um, it's, it's just 20 months, very affordable, totally online. And while you're completing your master's, you're also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses. Go to ohio.edu/info/MAA for more information. We'd also like to say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Student athletes loved the videos, our parents loved the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. We'd also like to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their great products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We'd also like to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing. Now, Hometown is changing the game with their suite of solutions for digital ticketing, fee-free fundraising, and athletic websites. Whether you're an athletic director, a coach, or a school administrator, Hometown makes it easy for schools to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. You can learn more at hometownticketing.com. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to thank Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards or show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. I'm telling you, if you put one of their units in your gym lobby, whether it's a wall mount or a floor console, your school's auditorium, your main hallway, it's going to become a magnet for students, for teachers, for parents, for your alumni, for sponsors. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their great products today. And we'd like to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Athletic directors already get feedback, but a lot of times it's from a very small group that just wants to gripe. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And having that information in your hands is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent, maybe your principal, or even your school board. Go to Athletic Surveys. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. That's Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Check them out today. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're going up north to Wisconsin, and we're going to be visiting today with Jesse Jeffers. Jesse is the athletic director for South Milwaukie Middle School, has a tremendous background in the world of athletics, also was a recent guest on Scott Jarvis's great podcast. So he's a podcast veteran. Jesse, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you first off. Second off, about 2 years ago, when I graduated with my sports management degree, this feels, even though I've only been an athletic director for 2 years, this feels like a full circle moment. You can ask my wife. We would, maybe go on a plane or something. I had almost all of your podcasts downloaded so I could on Spotify, so I could actually listen to them offline. And so it's like now, being on here is actually it's mind boggling to me. But I have greatly appreciated the time that you've put in to help young athletic directors like myself, and even older athletic directors and people that have it all figured out. You've helped them figure out even more. So I really appreciate everything you do.
Oh my gosh, you're too kind. Again, I certainly enjoy the conversations, and the podcast is successful because I'm smart enough to get people like you and Scott and other great ADs to share. I'm just the guy asking questions, but
Yeah,
I enjoy it, and thank you so much for sharing that. I'm glad it's been helpful for you, and
absolutely.
even more so when we get to our last segment of the AD Toolbox. Your tool suggestions are going to go into the fourth edition of the Athletic Director Toolbox. So you're not
Cool.
only going to be on a podcast, you're going to be in a book. So,
Yeah, and those are some good books too, I gotta say.
oh, again, thank you. Well, let's go and jump right in. As you know, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So, what's the Jesse Jeffers origin story?
Yeah. So it's actually wild because I never thought I would leave the state of Tennessee. And let's see, it's been almost 2 years. I grew up in a small town called Jamestown, Tennessee. And like I told Scott, I said, if the Mayflower was a Ford, I think that's where they would have ended up. It's not the one in Virginia. But with that said, um, I ended up going to college in Cookeville, Tennessee, about an hour away, and uh, got my bachelor's degree in physical education. Knew I wanted to be a coach, something. I just didn't know, but I also loved every aspect of physical education, and teaching people how to be active for the rest of their life, kind of giving them a toolkit, for physical education. And after I did that, well, I should say during, I was coaching. I was volunteer coaching a little bit at the elementary school that I went to, and that was really my first coaching gig, I would say. Well, I say elementary school down there. Sometimes it's K-8, so it was actually an eighth grade basketball team that I was coaching. Um, it was a great experience. We weren't very good, but we ended up a whole lot better than we started, and that's what kind of made me fall in love with it a little bit more than I already was. I played sports my whole life, and I knew that growing up, and I said this on Scott's as well, but sports kind of saved me in a small town. You know what I mean? And I was able to kind of, um, I guess, be distracted from some of the other things that were going on around, whether they were bad or just no good, and I was able to kind of get out and become successful in my own way. And I think sports is the reason for that. And that's what got me really wanting to be an athletic director. I wanted to give kids as many opportunities as possible. In Jamestown, Tennessee, basketball and football, when I was there, now it's grown a lot, which is really cool to see. But when I was there, basketball, football, and there was a lot of cheerleaders and things like that. Those were the main sports, and we had some other stuff, but really those were the focal point. And I always wished, that I was able to do some more things, like maybe even swimming or just all kinds of different things. I wish was. Had presented itself in a better way.
Right.
And so when I became an athletic director, actually, when I became a coach, That was the one thing I wanted to do, not only make more opportunities for kids, but also make those opportunities the best experience they could possibly have, because you never know outside of sports what a kid might be going through, or something like that, where you can take their mind off of it, but also kind of help them out in the same way of giving them this opportunity to get out of maybe some situations that they're in, or just to create opportunity for themselves. So I got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree at Tennessee Tech. And my first job, I was a basketball coordinator for 2 years, which was a really cool experience. It was at an elementary school. Yeah,
Yeah, again, we definitely want to hear about your career. We'll do that in our next segment. I want to go back to growing up, at Jamestown. We hear about, Jamestown all the time, in school, et cetera. What was it like for you growing up? I always say, our backyard, it was the biggest one on the block. So everybody was in our backyard playing football, basketball in the driveway. Was it your
yeah.
yard? Was it somebody else's yard? Was it the blacktop down at the school? What was your, let's say youth experience like?
Yeah, she's gonna love this. It was actually my grandma's house, and I was probably, I would say I was maybe 18, 19, and one of my friends that had been my friend forever, he said, I don't know your grandma's name. I just call her grandma. And so everybody, she's gonna listen to this, and it's gonna be cool. But everybody just calls her grandma. But she invested in my, and my mom, and my parents did too. But it was cool because I had this old breakaway, basketball hoop that we would lower and dunk on, and it was fun, right? But she finally got this huge metal post that was actually regulation size, and we broke a couple backboards on it. But but with that said, that some of the best basketball that's ever been played in the state of Tennessee was in Grandma's, in her driveway there. So that was something. And then just playing pickup at the parks. We would do that on Sundays a lot. We would have tournaments, and some of the guys, some local guys would just put together and say, we're going to do $20 for entry fee. And once we, have our winner, they split the pot. So we were doing that, I mean, from high school and beyond. So, some really cool things that sometimes you forget about, but it's really cool to reminisce and kind of see where we were and where we are now. So
Oh no, absolutely. I tell the story. I hit numerous state championship, NCAA, NBA game 7 winning shots, all
yeah,
from my driveway over the
yep.
years. So no, those are
And it's
great.
funny too because you always do the countdown, 3, 2, 1, and you
Yeah.
shoot. If you miss it, suddenly somebody put 3 more seconds on the clock.
Oh
You
wait
know,
a minute,
it's
there's a foul. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a
No.
foul. You got to hit the free throws. Oh, you put it back. Yeah, really
Yeah.
cool times. That's fun
Yeah.
to think back on.
No, I would usually take my game-winning shot with 3 seconds left. So if there was a miss, I could go in there and get the rebound. And Von Shears there with the tip in at the buzzer. Oh, very cool stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, let's talk about, high school and college. I think many of us, we have, whether it's a moment in practice or in a game, or it's a coach pulling us aside, sometimes encouragement, sometimes kicking our butt because we needed it. Um,
yeah,
any moments from those high school and college days that stick out for you now, still as an athletic director?
yeah. High school was, uh, it was I want to say a rough time, and for myself, off and on, I should say, I did not have the mental capacity at the time to be coached like our high school team was being coached. Not saying he was a bad coach. It was more of, um, let me put it this way: as a teacher, you got to be able to connect to each kid. Me and you, we're probably going to learn differently, and there's no one way that's going to get me and you both, to learn the same. And so you really have to learn how to connect. And that's just not the way that our programs were ran. It was very old school, very, nose to the floor, you're going. And if you want to be honest, it was more eye opening afterwards, after high school, taking some of these classes, some of the sports psychology classes and things like that to be like, oh, well, that's what not to do, or looking at the leadership styles and things like that, and recognizing which ones that you've seen work and which ones affected you the most, whether it was positive or negative. I will say we had a lot of fun, and I think the most fun, if I could talk to the guys again, the most fun we had was in the summer camps. That summer camps, if coaches are not doing summer camps, here's the deal. Your players are going to stay up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when they have a 7 a.m. game. Okay, that's just how it is. They need to do that though, and you need to run them to death too. They need to have that experience for it as well. But that was some of the best bonding moments that I can recall really in my high school career. Uh, those summer games were really fun, and even just staying up till 3 or 4 and sneaking a PlayStation or an Xbox in, and coach not knowing, and we're sitting in there ordering pizza and stuff, and then playing at 7. That was humbling. You've stayed up all night with the boys, you're having fun, and then you end up getting the lights beat out of you, and at 7 a.m. just a few hours later. And again, some humbling times, but some of the best times as far as just team bonding that you can have.
Oh no, absolutely. And I think a lot of coaches, they learn that over the years, the
Yeah,
value of those unofficial activities. Let's go and take our
right.
first break. For our listeners, our guest is Jesse Jeffers. He's the director of athletics for South Milwaukie Middle School. Of course, that's up in Wisconsin. Let's take that break, but we're coming back with more. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to take a minute and say thanks to Gipper for their support of the podcast. Your students are on social media, and if they're not seeing content that celebrates their accomplishments and promotes your program, you're missing out on a great opportunity. Go to Gipper.com. It's used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college programs. And whether it's a social media post that's celebrating a big win or an entire newsletter that shares all the great things your department is doing, the team at Gipper is going to have you creating world-class content in seconds. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com for more information. Make sure you mention the podcast. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Have you ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results? Well, those days are gone. Go to snapraise.com. It's hands down the best online fundraiser out there. We used it at our school with great success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. It works. Go to snapraise.com. You can check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it. It's snapraise.com. Don't forget to mention the podcast, snapraise.com.
So actually, a thing about Snap, I had a buddy in college who once I'd been coaching, and we had just started our first track team at the middle school that I was at. We had a ton of athletes. I knew nothing about track. I just knew we had some fast kids and some high jumpers. And anyway, of course, starting a new program, we need some money, right? Like you got to have money to get things going. And my buddy just so happened to text me and say, "Hey, you doing any fundraisers?" And I was like, "Yeah, funny you should ask." And long story short, he worked for Snap, got us hooked up, and that was the most hands off on a. I'm going to have him pay me for this too. That's the most hands-off fundraiser that I've personally ever done, and I've done a ton. I felt like I wasn't doing anything, not even not doing enough. I wasn't doing anything, but the money was just coming in, and I almost took him to court because I thought this has got to be illegal, but it's not. It's legal, and let me tell you, from experience, it does work, and I will be using it going forward as well.
Well, thanks so much for sharing that. No, I was the same way as an AD. We used it with a number of our teams at my school, and it was just so easy. This is it.
Yeah,
I don't have to do anything. And you're
yeah.
absolutely right. It was very successful for our programs, some great additional funding. And I've heard the same thing from many, many, many other ADs that used it. So thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
For listeners, Jesse Jeffers is our guest today. He's the director of athletics at South Milwaukie Middle School up in Wisconsin. We're going to hear about that, but Jesse, can you share your journey post college, some of those early jobs and experiences that brought you to your current position at South Milwaukie?
Yeah, so I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 2019. Got a job at an elementary school. In Tennessee, it's really hard to get at a middle school or a high school with no coaching experience, actually. So unless you know somebody or you've got some coaching experience, uh, getting a teaching job even is tough because they want you to, especially as a Phi Ed teacher, because they want you to coach everything. And so I had a little bit of experience, but not enough. And so, especially with the people that I was going up against. So, anyway, got a position at an elementary school. Humbling situation that I was in. And those little kids, let me tell you, they'll either eat you alive or they'll absolutely make your day. There's no in between. But with that said, we had a lot of athletes. I was in a Title I school, and we didn't really have any sports, and it was K through 5. And I was like, we had like I know we had an archery team, we had a bowling team, and I was like, man, we got a really nice gym. They had just got the floor redone when I got there, and I was like, we got to get some basketball in here or something. So anyway, contacted a guy in the district, and we ended up setting up some basketball stuff, and I did 6 Saturdays for 2 years, and was able to teach some skills. And now I'm pretty sure they've got a team. They were able to get a team and play other elementary schools around, which is really cool. I then went to a middle school. I had a little bit of I would say basketball coordinating experience. Went to a middle school, and that's where my coaching experience took off. And if you want to be completely honest, I really miss it. I love being an AD, but coaching, I mean, the connection that you make with those kids and seeing the growth is something that, I mean, a lot of people take advantage of, I think. But I coached when I first got there. I started coaching basketball. I was the assistant varsity coach, and I also coached sixth grade basketball. The next year, I started coaching football, started the track team. I was doing a little bit of strength and conditioning for all sports. And again, that's where I was like head first in athletics. And looking back, again, I do miss it. It took a lot of time. And, I've got one kid now with another on the way. And so right now, being an athletic director at a middle school isn't as much time consuming as coaching for sports, but it's still, I'm able to fluctuate some family time and also, um, some athletics time as well. So, but yeah, so ended up moving to Wisconsin. My wife got a job offer up here that we could not pass up, and moved up here. I was an athletic director for the first time last year in Wauwatosa, and loved it. I was in a really good school that just kind of trusted me, and they put their trust in me for a lot of the decisions. And as far as athletics, and they let me mess up, and they let me come back and be better. And it was a really good experience. And I got word that South Milwaukie, which is just about 25 minutes away from Wauwatosa, um, South Milwaukie was about to implement their first ever athletic director at the middle school. All their sports had been ran through the rec department. And so thought it was going to be a really good move to help kind of distinguish what an AD's role is at the middle school. And that's when I really started diving and I know we'll talk about this in a little bit, but the NIAAA and getting my certifications and stuff, because my ultimate goal is to be at a high school. That's what I would love to do, and I'm looking. I feel like all the time, and I have people here. It's really cool that support me in that decision and know that that is my end goal. Um, but yeah, I'm in South Milwaukie now, and I'm loving it. We've got a lot of good things going, and yeah, that's basically the journey.
There's an expression that we hear in our profession quite a bit. I'm sure other professions use it. You don't know what you don't know. Hey,
Absolutely.
what were some things that you found out in that first AD role that you didn't know about the position?
Communication. So and the thing is, I knew communication was key. You hear that all the time. Communication is key. It's the most important. How crucial proper communication and actually over communication. And the thing is, this is just my second year, but right now, I would rather be over communicated with than under communicated, if that makes sense. You can, to me, right now in our profession, you can never have too much information. Now, what you do with that information is different, and you got to prioritize and things. But communication is the biggest thing, and also scheduling. It took me. I mean, I had athletic directors so mad at me they couldn't hardly see straight in the first couple months because I had never had to schedule before, and so the thing, it sounds easy, and that's how I looked at it, and sitting there with 14 other athletic directors and saying, hey, look, this is the times we had last year. There was actually an AD before me that had already done some of the scheduling, and it wasn't correct, and so that really threw us, I mean, a big wrench in what I was trying to do. So anyway, scheduling is not as easy as it looks, and you need to practice that. And it's one of those things where you got to mess up a couple times, and you got to figure out how did you mess up, and how can you prevent it next time. Scheduling and communication is probably the biggest thing. There's a ton of different things that I'm learning every day, and but those are probably the two main things for me.
Oh no, absolutely. And it's one of those things that you really can't appreciate the size and scope of it until you are sitting down at that desk, unless you have
Yep.
the, you're an assistant AD and they give you a little bit of scheduling.
Yeah.
Jesse, we're going to do this after or at the end of the podcast, but let's do it now. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out and connect with you, add you to their network, we'd always talk about the importance of networking. What's the best way that they can connect with Jesse Jeffers?
Oh man, I'm on everything. There's thankfully there's not a ton of Jesse Jeffers out there. So I feel like I have made a lot of connections, fairly easily. I'm on LinkedIn. Uh, I will. Can I give you my email? Is that something I
Absolutely.
could
Yeah.
do? Yeah. So my personal email is JESSE M2525 at Gmail. I check my email. I'm one of those people that if I have a notification on an app, I have to check it. I have to get it off my screen. So I'm pretty good at replying. And yeah, so LinkedIn, all social media, I'm there, and I would love to make connections. That's one of the things that we will talk about here in a little bit that I think is the most important thing is networking and getting people all over the place. So.
Well, let's go ahead and take us another break, but we are going to come back with more. Once again, our guest is Jesse Jeffers. He's the athletic director at South Milwaukie Middle School. Let's take that break. But like I said, we're coming back. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to take a minute and say thanks to Home Campus for their support of the podcast. Now, Home Campus is a platform that you're going to use every single day. Things like scheduling, rosters, results. For me, the athletic eligibility and clearance platform alone is worth the price. And if your state association already has a mandated platform for scheduling and those things, um, check out Home Campus for the eligibility platform. It's homecampus.com. That's it, homecampus.com. We'd also like to say thank you to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Now, I didn't get my master's from Ohio, but my assistant AD did, along with thousands of others. And it was a great experience. It's very affordable, just 20 months, totally online. And while he was completing his master's, he was also completing 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. For more information, just go to ohio.edu/info/MAA, the Ohio University Online Masters. And we'd like to say thanks to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, all of our coaches, just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Our student athletes loved the videos, and our parents loved the streaming, but there's so much more. Go to huddle.com, join the 8 million users, and turn your school into a huddle school. That's huddle.com. We're back at the Educational AD Podcast with Jesse Jeffers, the athletic director at South Milwaukie Middle School. Jesse, give our listeners a little bit of an idea of the makeup of your school, the grades, et cetera. What are you looking at when you come to work each day?
Yeah, so we are sixth through eighth at the middle school, and we are connected to the high school, which is really cool because I get to have the chance to work very closely with the athletic director at the high school, and he's been here. He graduated from here. He's been here for a long time, and it's a really cool thing to be able to learn from him.
As you have gotten to know your coaches, your kids, the parents, again, you haven't been there for 15 years, but what are some things that you do with your program that you're particularly proud of? Things that you kind of like to brag about?
One thing that I like doing anywhere that I've been is athlete of the week. It seems small, but to me, bringing the community in and getting some places to sponsor athlete of the week is something that to me is a non-negotiable. We got to do that. It gets more than just school pride. It gets community pride, and that's something that I'm very passionate about. And athlete of the week is something where they every school does it different, but the way we do it is really cool. And we're starting up volleyball athlete of the week starting next week, and wrestling as well. So another thing that we're doing is everybody asks the question in interviews and things like that, how can we get uh, more people involved in athletics? And a lot of people look at that as, how can we get Johnny over here to play basketball? How can we get so and so to play football? And to me, it's much more than that. And I think athletics as a whole has many, many branches. And one thing that we're doing here is a sports media team, and where we go to the games. We've actually got a local company that's going to come in and help us with cameras, and it's a camera shop, which is really cool. But they're going to train us on how to use some of the stuff, and um, it's pretty cool because it's a different side of athletics than what you would typically see in an athletics program. But to me, it's very important to show kids that there's more than just playing the actual sport. There's journalism, there's managing, there's all kinds of different things that actually make athletics flow. And I think it's important to show kids, even at the middle school level, that. And the kids are loving the media program, and I am too. They're teaching me a lot about some of the social media and things, and we're having a good time.
You know, I've heard of a number of high schools. We had a high school program that did the sports media through our English department. Our cross country coach was in charge of that. I think yours might be the first middle school program that I've heard about to do that. What are some of the events or productions that you've already created and produced, I guess, for your student athletes in your community?
So one of the things is right now we're teaching. So I actually just got to South Milwaukee in November. So far it's been a lot of teaching. One of the things, Canva. As a teacher, I have free access to Canva, and I actually their first assignment. It's a club, but their first assignment was actually make me like a post game post that you would put on Instagram, Twitter, anything like that, and just show me what your creativity is. And I tell them I'm not giving them restrictions because it's kind of the cool thing about journalism. Like you'll have a little bit, but I want to see their creativity. So I've got like a very different pace for some of them, and it's really cool to see. Another thing, again, is the camera uh, company coming in, and they're going to help us out with a lot of things. And we're going to set that up. And also another thing is working with the yearbook club and getting some good yearbook pictures and getting some events that maybe the yearbook club wouldn't have maybe gotten without them, and things like that. But yeah, just a lot of cool things. We're going to be doing a lot of interviews, a lot of student led interviews with players and coaches and things like that. And no, just a lot of basic journalism things. However, a lot of fun stuff too. So the kids love doing the editing and writing articles for the newsletters. That's something else that we're doing. Things like that, go a long way in athletics.
Um, I'm excited to check back with you later this spring and next year about how that group's doing. Going
Yeah.
back to your athlete of the week, you mentioned getting some sponsorship support for that. It's such a athlete of the week, such an easy thing to do, and
Yeah.
sponsorships are a great way to augment that. What were some of the techniques you used to, and these are my words, sell the program to potential sponsors about how it was going to help you, how it was going to help them?
So I got lucky last year. I just walked into a couple places myself, and at the school that I was at, and walked in and tried to make a connection, tried to make a relationship, told them, hey, this is what we're doing to kind of acknowledge student success. And Cranky Owls, if you ever come to Wauwatosa, my goodness, you got to go to Cranky Al's Donuts. All right. Ask for Joey, tell him I sent you. But anyway, I made a friend out of it. And that was something too that, I wasn't going in there and saying, this is what I need. This is what you're going to give me. This is what I need from you. It was more of, they're going to do that, but what am I going to do for them? And I'll never forget a kid, uh, last year when we had donuts, the kid got athlete of the week for cross country, and he bit into a donut and he was like, man, I've never had Cranky L's donut. This is the best donut I've ever had. And he said, I'm going to have to take my mom. My mom's going to love this. And I was like, bingo, right there. That, to me, that's the connection you got to have. They're giving us their goods, their services, but we give back to them by, having kids go in there on the weekends, and having families, use their time to go in there and get their goods and services that they provide. And I really think just being, open and having just a human relationship with people goes a long ways, especially in today's time where, you never know what you're going to get most of the time. And, no, I think just making connections and having positive relationships, and it, like I said, it goes both ways, which is really cool.
What's some of the feedback you've gotten from student athletes, parents, et cetera, for the athlete of the week program?
They love it. Social media, as we know, in the last 5 to 10 years, has just exploded. Um, we I made a Instagram page for my last school, South Milwaukie. I'm actually one of the like editors and things that I can throw stuff on Facebook and Instagram. But it's really cool because the kids talk about it. They show each other. Like I've seen it firsthand. Like they put it on their story on Instagram. Their friends put it on their story, and it's just a positive thing all around. Oh, did you see so and so got athlete of the week? Yeah, not only did they get athlete of the week, they got a free pizza from Durango's down the road, like little things like that to me is what really sets off and sets up our athletics and gets kids fired up to be there and be a part of it.
Again, you're absolutely right. And ADs are always, you're looking for ways to promote your program. How easy is
Absolutely.
that? Take the photo, or the kid takes photo on their cell phone, and boom, they're posting it. They're promoting
Yeah.
your program. Great,
Yeah.
great stuff. I could go on all day. Let's go and take another break. I know that's shocking for our regular listeners, but we are going to come back with more. So stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their score tables and their score boards in action. Probably One of the best purchases I ever made was my Sideline Interactive indoor score table. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com for more information. We also want to say thanks to Hometown. Hometown's changing the game for schools and organizations with their suite of solutions for digital ticketing, fee free fundraising, and athletic websites. Whether you're an AD, a coach, or a school administrator, Hometown makes it easy for you to save time, raise more money, and bring your entire community together. You can learn more at hometownticketing.com. And we want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record boards for all the teams, for all the different events, or to show off your school's Hall of Fame, go to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Take a look at their interactive touchscreen video consoles. You put one of these in your gym lobby, your school's auditorium, your main hall, it's going to be a magnet for kids, for parents, for alums, for sponsors. The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their products today. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. You're going to be very glad you did. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast. Jesse, you and I were talking earlier. I guess, towards the beginning. You've already started your NIAAA journey. How did you hear about the NIAAA? What have you done with your state association? Share with our listeners where you're at on your journey right now.
Yeah, I'd actually never heard, even getting my master's in sports administration, I had never heard of the NIAAA, never heard of, the state associations and things until I started listening to your podcast. I'm going to go back to that. So yours and Scott Jarvis, that is the first time I'd listened to it. And, after listening to multiple people and saying they had their, whether it was their CAA, their CMAA, a couple CIAAs, I got to thinking, okay, I'm probably the only one that doesn't have one of these. So anyway, got to looking into it. So now I've taken all my LTI courses for the CAA exam. Again, just sent my stuff off and got an email today that it's being looked at. I actually think I just got a call about it not too long ago, but I'll check that after. But yeah, I just got to take the test and hopes to get my certification. And it not only does it look good on a resume, like that's obvious, it's going to look great on a resume, but the things that are in those LTI classes, I wish I had the money to take all of them, and I also wish I had the time to take all of them. Whether I was going to get certified or not, there wasn't one class that I took, especially for CAA, that I didn't learn a handful of things, not just one thing. So, definitely so glad that I was listening to your podcast, because I don't know of any other time I would have heard of the NIAAA. But now I see what I must have been hiding under a rock. So, but yeah, so that's basically my journey so far, and hopefully in the next, I would say, week or so, that I'll be taking the test and get my certification.
All right. Well, I'm definitely going to be sharing that with all of my good friends at the NIAAA office. That at least there was one AD out there we helped learn about
Yeah.
the program. Looking at your experience with the courses, and everybody has I think, a unique experience, but since you were very early in your career as an AD, they use an expression, that first class, 4 hours, it can be like drinking from the fire hose. What was your recollection of that first LTI course?
Jake, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little different when I'm like when I'm signing up for something because it's something that I want to do. I get chill bumps, like I get excited, uh, and I'm not trying to, kiss tail or anything. But really, I was so excited that first one. I got it done in one day. I'd sat down and I just took out the time and I did it. And I looked up and I'm like, whoa, it's been 4 hours, and But with that said, they did get a little longer as I went through because that the honeymoon phase kind of ran off. But again, you're learning so much that your attention, especially, the people that are, if they're going to take it, when you get to, I believe it's 504 and you start the legal stuff, that can seem like a lot at first, but that's the part where you've really got to soak it in so you can have a job in 20 years and not get in trouble for some things that, I mean, there was some mind-blowing things in there that people were suing. Everybody wants to sue, and you really got to, what I learned, you got to take that initiative out. You got to get them not to want to sue, but yeah, just things like that. I was actually very excited to take each class, and like I said, I would have taken all of them if I could. Who knows? I might. I've got some time, Jake. I might be able to. So,
Well, no, I love how you share that, and I remember the same way. That first course, it was just this is so cool,
yeah,
and the instructors did a great job, and the experience. I talk about the content is great on its own,
yeah,
but the conversations and the relationships that you and the networking that you're able to develop sitting at those tables, even if it's in a Zoom room and you're doing it as a webinar online, those
yeah.
are those experiences that I think really, really have an impact in some of those early courses. Was that your experience too?
Yeah, absolutely. And the best thing to me, and it was not what I was expecting, especially two college degrees, like I was expecting somebody to come up there with a PowerPoint and just, yap. These are real life athletic directors coming in, not only teaching their class, but giving their point of view on each point, things that they've gone through and things that maybe you've thought of that it just reassures you, or maybe some things you haven't thought of. And there's usually two or three, or some, I think there was a couple with four actual, real life athletic directors in there. So you got to see a ton of different views of things. And I think that's one thing that makes it go by so fast too, is you're getting all this information from different people. And it's a great experience.
Boy, now you're already signed up as of recording date. You're signed up to take the course.
Yeah.
Let's go and give the NIAAA a shout out. What are some of the review materials that they've made available to you as you have gone into this sign up process?
Yep. So there are study guides. Not only are there study guides that the study guides are kind of a summary of all of the courses that you've taken for the CAA. Not only that, but after each class, you can actually go through. You can get the PowerPoint. You can get the materials that they used during that time, and I mean, right there's your source. If you need to make your own, because I believe the study guide isn't like everything that you need to know. It is most of everything you need to know, and it gives you the subjects that you need to really look into. But I mean, word for word, and if you go back in those PowerPoints and things, you've got everything you need to know. I actually printed all of those PowerPoints off, made me a booklet, and it was that simple. Made my own little study guide. And then also the books that you have in your background right now, like those I've got, I want to say three out of the four, or sorry, three out of the five. Even those, the NIAAA doesn't necessarily say these are going to help you pass the test, but from what I've read out of each one of those, it's a lot of the same stuff, and it's a lot of things that you got to really get in your toolbox to be able to pass that test.
Well, again, you are just so very kind. Well, the people that we interview on the podcast, one of our segments, our next segment for you, is going to be the toolbox book. So I think they are great tools. But again, back to the NIAAA, I think they do a wonderful job. I was very blessed to be part of the certification committee at the national level for a number of years, and the people on that committee, people on all the committees, but for certification we took great pride in, making sure the test was up to date, the study information was good, doing the reviews every year at the national conference, helping administer at state conferences. NIAAA and their team does a great job with that. So I know you're going to do just fine. Speaking of the toolbox, it's that time of the podcast. We always wrap up with our AD Toolbox segment. Um, you have already hit the ground running in your career as an AD, but we're going to take our final break, hear from Athletic Surveys, who sponsor the Toolbox segment. When we come back, I'm going to challenge you to send out a brand new AD, which you were very recently. I'm going to have you send out a brand new AD on their first job, but I'm only going to let you put 3 items in the toolbox. So let's go and
Gotcha.
take that break. And when we come back, we're going to see what Jesse Jeffers puts in his new athletic director toolbox. Please stay with us. We want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the toolbox segment of the podcast. Athletic directors already get feedback, but a lot of times it's from a very small group that just wants to complain. Athletic Surveys is going to connect you to that group, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% of your stakeholders that support your program. And having that type of positive feedback is incredibly valuable, especially when you're visiting with a frustrated parent or maybe your principal or even your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. The website is athleticsurveys.com. Make sure you mention the podcast, athleticsurveys.com. Well, we've been visiting today with Jesse Jeffers. He's at a young stage in his career, but he already has an incredible background in athletics. Right now, though, I'm going to task him with sending out a brand new AD, what he was very recently. But I'm only going to let him put 3 items in that new AD toolbox. So, Jesse, what 3 items are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
So, to me, the three most important things that I wish as a new AD I would have known. First thing, because new ads we don't know what to do sometimes. We're just like, you're just thrown out and you gotta figure it out sometimes. But these are the three things. If you're not doing anything else, to me, these are the three most important things. First thing, student acknowledgement. You've got to show successes, and that's not just for your program, that's for your kids. Like, again, we've got to make these opportunities the best opportunities for these kids. And acknowledging success is the number one thing you can do, to reinstate that for them. The second thing is get buy-in from your school itself, whether it's your district, your school, the teachers, the custodians, your admin, everybody. If there's not already buy-in, you've got to do everything you can to network with your teachers, whether you know them or not, and you've got to get buy-in, because there's nothing like, I mean, even us as ex-athletes, there's nothing like looking up in the stands, and I could go on about one of my teachers that I'm not going to, but she made all the difference in the world for me in her class, because she was coming to my games and would talk to me about them and things. So get buy-in, because not only are you going to see your athletes improve, but you're also going to see the overall vibe of your school go way more positive if everybody's getting into athletics. And the third thing that can seem very intimidating at first until you do it, and it's like, whoa, that was a lot easier than I thought. And that's like what we talked about, and that's getting the community involved. We talked about getting the teachers involved, but if you can also, in addition to, get the community involved, I mean, there's nothing like a packed out stadium or stands or anything. And then, there's cheerleaders, there's the band playing, you've got the loud noises going from the crowd. There's nothing like it. And then they can also, give you a little bit of support there too with the wallet, and having fundraisers where, the local businesses are helping out and things like that. There's 1,000 different ways to fundraise, and getting the community involved in the fundraising and things like that, to me, is very important. And just overall, just trying to express as much community pride and school pride as possible.
Boy, I love them all. You already talked about, acknowledging, the student success, but, that buy-in component is just so crucial. And,
Yeah.
again, be intentional. Don't
Yeah.
wait for people to come to you. Reach out, introduce yourself, let them know that you want them to be part of the program. Great, great stuff. Thanks so much for sharing. Uh, Jesse, one more time, if one of our listeners wants to reach out and add you to their network or pick your brain about some of the things that you're doing with your program, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Yeah. I'll give you my email, Jesse, JESSEM 2525 at gmail.com. That's my email. And I'm also on all social media. And like I said, I don't like notifications on my apps. So I'm constantly checking, seeing, what I got. And yeah, but email me. We can, exchange numbers. We can exchange social media and stuff through that if you'd like. But yeah, I'm open to anything. And the more connections, the better.
Well, thanks again for sharing with our listeners. And again, thank you for your very kind comments throughout the podcast. All the best moving forward. And
Thank you.
we are definitely going to have to get you back on, let's say this fall or next spring and do an update on all the great things you're doing at your program.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And again, it's my pleasure to be on here. It's an honor.
Well, the honor's ours. For our listeners, we do appreciate you. And just a reminder, we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do this just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices. So come back and join us again for the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast.